Stop reacting. Right now. Stop getting angry when someone disrespects you. Stop defending yourself when someone attacks you. Stop explaining when someone questions you. Your emotional reactions are destroying your PowerPoint. 3 days ago, I watched someone lose complete control in a conversation. Someone insulted them. They immediately got defensive, raised their voice, started explaining themselves frantically. The person who insulted them sat back calmly, smiling. They had won. They pushed a button and got exactly the reaction they wanted. The person who reacted gave away all their power in 30 seconds. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something 500 years ago that most people still don't grasp. Emotional reactions are predictable, and predictability is weakness. When people can trigger your emotions, they control you. When they can make you angry, defensive, or upset, they have power over you. When your reactions are automatic, you're not operating strategically. You're being operated. Think about the last week. How many times did someone say something that immediately triggered an emotional response in you? How many times did you get angry, defensive, or upset because of someone else's words or actions? How many times did you react first and think later? Every automatic reaction was a moment where someone else controlled your emotional state. People who truly have power don't react emotionally. People who command respect stay calm under pressure. People who win psychological battles respond strategically, not emotionally. When you react immediately to everything, you're signaling to everyone that you're easy to manipulate, easy to control, easy to defeat. Machiavelli watched this pattern across Renaissance Italy. Leaders who reacted emotionally to provocations made terrible decisions. Advisors who got defensive when questioned lost credibility. Warriors who got angry in battle made fatal mistakes. He documented how emotional reactions destroy judgment, reveal weaknesses, and create opportunities for enemies. And he wrote about the prince who must maintain composure even under the greatest provocations. Today, this principle is more critical than ever. In a world designed to trigger constant emotional reactions, social media, news, conflicts, provocations, the ability to not react is a superpower. It's the difference between being controlled and being in control that here's what I'm revealing in this video. Why reactions destroy power, how non-reaction creates authority, the psychology of strategic calm, and exactly how to stop reacting emotionally while still responding effectively. These truths contradict everything you've been taught about being authentic and expressing your feelings. But they work because they understand something most people miss. The person who controls their reactions controls the situation. Before we go deeper, drop this declaration in the comments. I control my reactions don't control me. This isn't just a comment. This is your commitment to stopping the pattern of giving your power away through emotional reactions. Now let's understand exactly how reactions destroy you and what to do instead. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that immediate emotional reactions make them authentic or honest. They believe that getting angry when disrespected shows they have self-respect, that getting defensive when attacked shows they're standing up for themselves, that reacting emotionally proves they care. This is completely backwards. Emotional reactions don't show strength. They show lack of control. They don't demonstrate self-respect. They demonstrate that others can control your emotional state. They don't prove you're standing up for yourself. They prove you're easily manipulated by anyone who knows which buttons to push. Think about it. When someone insults you and you immediately get angry, who's in control? Not you. The person who insulted you just demonstrated they can control your emotions with a few words. When someone questions you and you immediately get defensive, who has the power? Not you. The questioner just showed they can make you uncomfortable and reactive. When someone provokes you and you immediately react, who won? Not you. The provocateur got exactly what they wanted. Every emotional reaction is a transfer of power from you to whoever triggered it. Every time you let someone make you angry, they own your emotional state. Every time you let someone make you defensive, they control the conversation. Every time you let someone provoke you into reacting, they've defeated you before any real confrontation even begins. Machiavelli observed that the prince who could be easily angered, easily provoked, or easily manipulated through emotional triggers was a prince who wouldn't last long. Enemies would use his emotional reactivity against him. They would provoke him into bad decisions. They would trigger him into revealing information. They would use his predictable reactions to anticipate and counter his moves. The same applies to you. When you're emotionally reactive, you become predictable. People learn what triggers you. Number 1. The reaction trap. From childhood, you learn that expressing your emotions immediately is healthy and authentic. When something bothered you, you were told to express it. When someone hurt you, you were encouraged to show your pain. When something angered you, expressing that anger was seen as honest communication. This created deep programming. Immediate emotional expression equals authenticity and health. The problem is this childhood conditioning becomes adult vulnerability. What worked in safe, controlled environments with people who cared about your well-being becomes a liability in the real world with people who will exploit your reactions. You're still operating on childhood rules in an adult game where those rules make you weak. The reaction trap operates on 3 psychological mechanisms. First, immediate reactions bypass rational thinking. When you react emotionally, you're not thinking strategically. You're operating from your emotional brain, which is impulsive, defensive, and poor at long-term calculation. This makes you predictable and easy to outmaneuver. Second, reactions reveal information you should protect. When someone provokes you into reacting, they learn what matters to you, what threatens you, what you're insecure about. They gather intelligence about your psychological vulnerabilities. Every reaction is data they can use against you later. Third, reactions create escalation you can't control. When you react emotionally to provocation, you often escalate the situation beyond what it needed to be. What could have been handled with calm strategic response becomes a confrontation you can't back out of without losing face. Your reaction trapped you in a situation worse than the original provocation. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Someone makes a subtle, disrespectful comment about you. The reaction trap says, get immediately angry, confront them, demand an apology. You react this way. Now you look overly sensitive. The comment might have been ambiguous, but your reaction proved it hit a nerve. You've given them information and made yourself look weak. Someone questions your decision or competence. The reaction trap says, get defensive, explain yourself extensively, prove them wrong. You react this way. Now you look insecure. Your defensive reaction confirmed their suspicion that you're uncertain. Someone confident wouldn't have felt the need to defend so strongly. Someone tries to provoke you into an argument or confrontation. The reaction trap says, take the bait, engage fully, prove your point. You react this way. Now you're in their game, fighting on their terms. They got you to waste energy, time, and composure on something they probably didn't even care about. They just wanted to disrupt you. Machiavelli documented how leaders fell into the reaction trap constantly. An enemy would send an insulting message. The leader would react with immediate military response. The enemy had baited them into a costly war they weren't prepared for. A rival would spread rumors. The leader would react with desperate public denials. The denials just gave the rumors more attention and credibility. The pattern is always the same. Provocation triggers reaction. Reaction creates vulnerability. Vulnerability gets exploited. The person who reacted loses power, respect, or position. The person who provoked gets exactly what they wanted. You might think that not reacting makes you a pushover or doormat. This is the trap talking. Not reacting doesn't mean accepting disrespect or allowing bad behavior. It means responding strategically instead of reacting emotionally. There's a massive difference between reaction and response. Reaction is immediate, emotional, and uncontrolled. It happens automatically when your buttons get pushed. It's defensive, escalating, and usually regrettable later. Reaction gives power to whoever triggered it. Response is delayed, strategic, and controlled. It happens after you've assessed the situation calmly. It's calculated to achieve your desired outcome rather than just expressing your feelings. Response keeps power in your hands. The goal isn't to suppress your emotions or pretend you don't feel anything. The goal is to feel the emotion, recognize it, then choose your response based on strategy rather than letting the emotion choose your reaction for you. You feel the anger, but don't let it control your behavior. You notice the defensiveness, but don't let it make you explain yourself. You recognize the provocation, but don't let it bait you into their trap. This requires what Machiavelli called virtue, a combination of strength, cunning, and self-control. The strong prince feels emotions like any human, but doesn't let those emotions override his strategic judgment. He uses emotions as information about the situation while making decisions based on what serves his interests. Here's a practical framework. When something triggers an emotional reaction, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. This creates space between trigger and response. In that space, ask yourself, what is this person trying to accomplish by provoking me? What reaction do they want from me? What response would serve my interests instead of their manipulation? Often, you'll realize they want you to react emotionally because it makes you look bad, reveals information, or traps you in escalation. The strategic response is usually the opposite of your emotional reaction. They want you angry? Stay calm. They want you defensive? Stay confident. They want you engaged? Stay dismissive. This doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means being strategic about when and how you express emotions. Sometimes strategic response includes expressing emotion deliberately for effect. But it's your choice, your timing, your control, not their manipulation triggering your automatic reaction. For the next week, notice every time you react emotionally to something someone says or does. Don't try to stop the reactions yet. Just notice them. Notice what triggered you. Notice how you reacted. Notice what happened after your reaction. This awareness is the first step to breaking free from the reaction trap. Drop this. I'm aware of my triggers now. Number 2, the power of strategic calm. Now that you understand why reactions destroy power, let's explore what creates power. Strategic calm. Calm isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of emotional control. When you stay calm under pressure, you create several powerful psychological effects that work massively in your favor. First, calm signals confidence and strength. When someone provokes you and you stay calm, you communicate that their provocation doesn't threaten you enough to disturb your composure. This immediately positions you as psychologically stronger. The person who loses their cool first loses the psychological battle. Second, calm keeps you thinking clearly. When you're emotionally reactive, your rational thinking shuts down. Your brain goes into fight or flight mode. But when you maintain calm, you keep access to your strategic thinking. You can assess the situation accurately, identify the best response, and execute it effectively. Third, calm is unsettling to those who expect reaction. When people provoke you expecting emotional response and get calm instead, they don't know how to proceed. Their script called for you to react emotionally. When you don't, they're thrown off balance. Now they're the ones uncertain and uncomfortable. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who maintained composure while others lost theirs commanded respect and fear. Not fear of violence, but fear of unpredictability and psychological strength. When you can't be rattled, people can't strategize against you effectively because they can't predict or manipulate your responses. Think about the most powerful people you've encountered. Were they the ones who got angry easily? The ones who got defensive when questioned? The ones who reacted emotionally to every provocation? No, they were the ones who stayed calm regardless of what was happening around them. Their calm itself was a form of power. Here's what strategic calm looks like in practice. Someone insults you directly. Instead of getting angry or defensive, you pause. You look at them calmly. Maybe you give a slight smile that suggests you find their attempt at provocation amusing. Then you either give a brief dismissive response or simply ignore them and continue with what you were doing. Your calm tells them their insult had zero effect. Someone questions your decision aggressively. Instead of getting defensive and explaining, you stay calm. You might say simply, "I've made my decision," and change the subject. Or you might ask calmly, "What specific concern do you have?" and address only that without defensive explanation. Your calm makes them look aggressive and unreasonable. Someone tries to provoke you into an argument. Instead of taking the bait, you stay calm and unengaged. You might give a brief acknowledgement like, "I hear you," and then redirect conversation elsewhere. Or you might just not respond at all. Your calm refusal to engage frustrates their attempt at manipulation. The key to strategic calm is the pause. Between provocation and response, insert a pause. This pause serves multiple purposes. It prevents automatic emotional reaction. It gives you time to assess what's really happening and what response serves your interests. It communicates that you're not easily rushed or pressured into reacting. The pause can be literal silence. When someone says something provocative, don't respond immediately. Let silence stretch for a few seconds. Most people are uncomfortable with silence and will either clarify, backtrack, or reveal more of their intentions. Your comfortable silence makes them uncomfortable. The pause can also be a brief physical action. Take a sip of water. Look away thoughtfully. Lean back in your chair. These small actions by you seconds to shift from emotional reaction to strategic response while appearing naturally contemplative rather than stunned or struggling. But strategic calm must be genuine, not performed nervousness. If you're internally panicking while trying to appear calm, people sense the incongruence. True strategic calm comes from genuine confidence that you can handle whatever situation arises. This confidence builds through practice and through proving to yourself repeatedly that staying calm serves you better than reacting emotionally. Machiavelli wrote about fortuna, fortune or circumstances, and virtù, strength and skill. He argued that while we can't control fortuna, we can control our virtù. Strategic calm is virtù. You can't control whether people provoke you, but you can control whether their provocations succeed in making you react. Here's an advanced technique. Use calm as a weapon. When you know someone expects emotional reaction from you, and you give them calm instead, you're using their expectations against them. They prepared to deal with your anger, defensiveness, or upset. When they get unflappable calm, they're unprepared and often reveal their real intentions or insecurities. For example, if someone tries to make you jealous, your calm indifference makes them look desperate. If someone tries to anger you with an insult, your calm amusement makes them look petty. If someone tries to intimidate you, your calm confidence makes them look weak. Your calm response reframes the entire interaction in your favor. Practice strategic calm in low-stakes situations first. When minor annoyances happen, practice pausing before responding. When small provocations occur, practice staying calm. Build the skill in situations where the consequences are minor. Then, when high-stakes situations arise, you'll have developed the habit of calm response rather than emotional reaction. Also practice calm in your internal dialogue. When you feel emotional reaction rising, don't fight it or judge yourself. Just notice it calmly. I'm feeling angry right now. That's interesting. What's triggering this? What would be the strategic response? This internal calm helps. Number 3. Reading the provocation. Now you understand not to react and the power of staying calm. But there's a deeper level, understanding why you're being provoked and what the provocateur actually wants. Every provocation has a purpose. When you can read that purpose, you can respond even more strategically. Most provocations fall into specific categories. First, testing provocations. Someone is testing your boundaries, your temperament, or your strength. They want to know, can I push this person around? Will they defend themselves? How do they handle pressure? Your reaction tells them everything. When someone tests you through provocation, reacting emotionally fails the test. It shows them you're easy to manipulate and your boundaries are weak. Staying calm and either enforcing a boundary firmly or dismissing the test entirely passes the test. It shows them you're not someone to mess with. Second, dominance provocations. Someone is trying to establish dominance or superiority over you. They provoke you to make you react emotionally, which makes you look weak and them look strong. This happens in professional settings, social hierarchies, and competitive situations. When someone tries to dominate you through provocation, getting angry or defensive confirms their dominance. You reacted to their move, meaning they controlled the interaction. Staying calm and either ignoring the provocation or calmly asserting yourself maintains your position. You didn't let them establish dominance. Third, distraction provocations. Someone wants to distract you from something important or make you waste energy on something unimportant. They provoke you to get you focused on defending yourself or arguing with them instead of focusing on your goals. When someone tries to distract you through provocation, engaging with it at all is falling for the trap. The strategic response is to recognize the distraction attempt and return focus to what actually matters. Don't let them pull you into their game. Fourth, information gathering provocations. Someone is provoking you to get you to reveal information about your thoughts, plans, weaknesses, or insecurities. Your emotional reaction reveals what matters to you, what threatens you, and what you're trying to hide. When someone provokes you to gather information, any strong reaction gives them intelligence. The strategic response is to reveal nothing. Stay calm, give minimal response, redirect conversation. Never let provocation make you explain, justify, or defend in ways that reveal information you should protect. Machiavelli taught that understanding the enemy's motivations is crucial to defeating them. The same applies to provocations. When you understand why someone is provoking you, testing, dominating, distracting, or gathering information, You can craft a response that defeats their purpose rather than serving it. Here's how to read provocations in real time. First, notice your emotional reaction rising. This is your signal that provocation is occurring. Second, pause instead of reacting. Third, ask yourself, what would this person gain if I react the way I'm tempted to react? What are they trying to accomplish? Often, the answer becomes obvious once you ask the question. If getting you angry serves their purpose, stay calm. If getting you to explain yourself serves their purpose, say nothing. If getting you engaged in argument serves their purpose, disengage. Do the opposite of what would serve their provocation's purpose. Let me give you concrete examples. In a meeting, someone dismissively questions your idea. Your emotional reaction is to get defensive and over-explain. But pause and read the provocation. They want to make you look uncertain and defensive. The strategic response. Acknowledge their question briefly without defensiveness. That's addressed in the third slide. And continue confidently. You didn't take the bait. A friend makes a subtle dig about something you're insecure about. Your emotional reaction is to get hurt or angry. But pause and read the provocation. They're testing whether that's still a button they can push. The strategic response. React with calm indifference or even humor. Yeah, that's not my strong suit, with a shrug. You just disabled their ability to use that button again. Someone spreads a rumor about you. Your emotional reaction is to defend yourself publicly and refute the rumor. But pause and read the provocation. They want you to give the rumor attention and make yourself look defensive. The strategic response. Ignore it completely. People who matter won't believe it, and your dignified silence makes the rumor spreader look petty. Reading provocations also means recognizing when someone isn't actually provoking you, but your insecurities make you perceive provocation where none exists. Sometimes people ask questions, give feedback, or make observations without any manipulative intent. If you react defensively to neutral interactions, you create problems that didn't exist. This is why self-awareness is crucial. When you know your own insecurities and triggers, you can distinguish between actual provocation designed to manipulate you and neutral interactions that your insecurities are misinterpreting as provocations. This prevents you from damaging relationships by overreacting to imagined slights. Machiavelli warned against paranoia, seeing enemies and provocations everywhere. The wise prince distinguishes between real threats requiring response and imagined threats that waste attention. The same applies to provocations. Some require strategic response. Others deserve no attention at all. Here's an advanced technique. Respond to provocations with questions. Instead of defending or reacting, ask a question that forces the provocateur to clarify their intent. What are you trying to say exactly? Or what's your point? This puts pressure back on them and often reveals whether it was genuine provocation or something you're misreading. Also recognize that some people provoke habitually without realizing it. It's their communication style or personality, not strategic manipulation. With these people, your strategic response might be addressing the pattern directly. I notice you often frame things as challenges. I prefer direct communication. This can reset the dynamic without confrontation. The goal of reading provocations is to never be caught off guard. When you understand what someone is trying to accomplish through provocation, you can't be manipulated by it. You see the game they're playing and choose whether to play, how to play, or whether to ignore it entirely. This level of strategic awareness makes you nearly impossible to control through emotional manipulation. Drop this. I read provocations instead of reacting to them. Number 4, strategic response tactics. Now you know not to react, how to stay calm, and how to read provocations. Let's get tactical. What do you actually do instead of reacting? Here are specific strategic responses that work in different situations. First tactic, the pause and redirect. When someone provokes you, pause instead of reacting. Then redirect conversation or attention elsewhere without addressing the provocation directly. This communicates that their provocation wasn't important enough to deserve response. It fails completely because you didn't engage. Example, someone makes an insulting comment. You pause. Then you turn to someone else and continue the previous conversation or introduce a new topic. The provocateur is left hanging. Their provocation had zero effect and looks foolish. Second tactic, the calm question. Instead of defending or reacting, ask a calm question that puts pressure back on the provocateur. This forces them to clarify or back down while you remain composed and in control. Example, someone aggressively questions your competence. You stay calm and ask, "What specific concern do you have?" This makes them either specify a legitimate concern you can address calmly, or reveal they had no real concern and were just being provocative. Either way, your calm question puts them on defense. Third tactic, the brief acknowledgement. Give minimal acknowledgement without engagement. This shows you heard them but aren't bothered enough to respond substantively. It's dismissive without being obviously rude. Example, someone tries to bait you into an argument. You say calmly, "I hear you," or "That's your perspective," and then disengage. You acknowledge them but refuse to take the bait. Your brief response frustrates their attempt at engagement. Fourth tactic, the strategic silence. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Let the provocation hang in the air. Your comfortable silence makes them uncomfortable and often causes them to backtrack, clarify, or reveal more of their intentions. Example, someone makes a provocative statement clearly designed to get a reaction. You just look at them calmly and say nothing. The silence becomes uncomfortable for them, not you. Often they'll try to fill the silence and end up weakening their position. Fifth tactic, the reframe. Take their provocation and reframe it in a way that serves your purpose rather than theirs. This is advanced, but incredibly effective when done well. Example, someone criticizes your approach publicly. Instead of defending, you reframe. "That's an interesting perspective. I appreciate different viewpoints." What I found works is, you took their criticism, acknowledged it without accepting it, and used it as platform to explain your approach confidently. Their attack became your opportunity. Machiavelli mastered the reframe. When enemies accused him of being manipulative and ruthless, he reframed it as being realistic and practical. When critics attacked his ideas as immoral, he reframed morality itself as different for rulers than for individuals. He never defended. He reframed the entire conversation. Here's the key to all these tactics. Practice them in low-stakes situations first. When minor provocations happen, someone cuts you off in traffic, makes a small rude comment, questions something unimportant, practice these responses. Build the habit when consequences are minimal. Then when high-stakes provocations occur, you'll have developed the skills to respond strategically. Machiavelli's final warning. 500 years ago, Machiavelli watched leaders destroy themselves not through external enemies, but through their own reactions to provocations. Rulers who could be easily angered made terrible decisions. Advisors who got defensive lost credibility and influence. Warriors who reacted emotionally in battle died unnecessarily. His warning applies directly to your life today. Every emotional reaction is a small piece of power you give away. Every time you let someone make you angry, defensive, or upset, you've let them control you. Every time you react automatically instead of responding strategically, you failed a test of psychological strength. The world is full of people who will test you, provoke you, and try to manipulate you through your emotional reactions. Some do it consciously and strategically. Others do it habitually without awareness. But whether intentional or not, your reactions determine whether you're controllable or in control. The person who can be easily provoked is easily defeated. The person who reacts emotionally to everything never builds real power or respect. The person who explains themselves defensively to every challenge never commands authority. But the person who stays calm under pressure, responds strategically to provocations, and never gives away their power through emotional reactions, that person becomes dangerous in the best possible way. Dangerous not because they harm others, but because they can't be controlled. They can't be manipulated. They can't be defeated through emotional tricks. They operate from strategy, not from triggered reactions. This makes them formidable opponents and valuable allies. Look at your life right now. How much of your energy goes into emotional reactions that serve other people's purposes rather than your own? How often do you get angry, defensive, or upset because someone pushed your buttons? How many times have you made worse decisions because you were reacting emotionally rather than thinking strategically? Starting today, implement this principle. Feel your emotions, but never let them control your actions. When provocation happens, and it will happen constantly, pause. Read what the provocateur wants. Choose a strategic response that serves your interests rather than their manipulation. Build the habit of calm strategic response rather than automatic emotional reaction. Watch what happens over the coming weeks and months. People will test you less because they learn it doesn't work. People will respect you more because they see you can't be rattled. People will treat you more carefully because they know you're not someone whose buttons can be easily pushed. Your calm strategic responses will build a reputation that protects you and empowers you. Never let someone else's provocation control your emotional state. Never give your power away through predictable reactions. Never let your emotions override your strategic thinking. Your reactions belong to you. Keep them under your control. If this video changed how you think about emotional reactions and strategic response, drop this declaration in the comments. I control my reactions don't control me. Share this with someone who needs to understand that emotional reactions destroy power. Subscribe for more Machiavellian wisdom about psychology, strategy, and personal power. Remember, the person who controls their reactions controls their life. The person controlled by their reactions is controlled by everyone who knows which buttons to push. The difference is everything. Stop reacting emotionally. Start responding strategically. Your power depends on it.